Welcome back. Welcome back to An Athlete's Journey. I'm your host, Travis Reed, and today I got a special guest, somebody who is an A-lister in my head. He's doing big things. He's a part of the younger Bruin generation, but he's still like around my age, so it's cool. Watched him grow up, watched him play a lot of basketball, watched him in college, watched him in high school a little bit, watched him in the NBA. And now I'm watching him doing, his broadcasting thing full time. I'm just so proud of him as a person. I never told him this, but I'm telling y'all this, as we speak. So I'm really proud of what he's doing. I'm just happy for him, happy for his family. Somebody, like I said, I admire and appreciate very much, Mr. Ryan Hollins. Thank you, Ryan.
Man, I appreciate you, bro. And shoot, it's likewise, man, because you gotta realize from when I was growing up, like you guys are the reason I went to UCLA. Like that was what I look you watching you play, looking up to you, your journey, and like when you really full UCLA, like it's just anybody who's a part of it. So whether you were a 5 star or on the team, like you put in work, bro. So you were a big reason. Y'all were superheroes. I'm in high school. Y'all superheroes to me. I'm watching everything y'all doing, pulling for y'all, even beyond that. So like the work you put in, bro, like you paved the way for guys like me. So, sometimes, especially at UCLA, I'm gonna just say it, you wear the jersey and the respect wasn't there. Or once you're not playing, you're very forgotten, it seems. But from my generation, bro, definitely always love. I wouldn't be doing what I was doing without you. I aspired to do what you were doing on the court and at UCLA. So the work that you put in, I appreciate you, man. So, all of the family, you know what I'm saying? So the UCLA family, I just knew in my mind UCLA was gonna be it. But again, like that journey, bro, I'm telling you from my standpoint, it was never in vain.
Well, I tell you, I appreciate it, bro. Like I said, I remember we're gonna get in this a little bit later, but I just remember biggest moment when I was yelling at the TV. I was overseas. This is like 2006, watching y'all play Gonzaga and watching you hit those free throws, and then I was like, me and the other, me and my American teammate, we over screaming, getting no sleep
Ah,
watching the game, like what I'm saying, like I'm super amped. You know what I'm saying? And so I just remember that run when y'all went to the national championship. Now we'll get to that a little bit later, but I just want to say that I was like, oh my God.
dang.
You know what I'm saying? Even and like I said, I don't think I've ever was so excited to see y'all, see you, and I was just like, man, this is just crazy. But we'll get into that. Well,
100%.
how did your journey start? Your basketball or sports journey?
Man, bro, it was a long one full of failures. I wasn't a 5 star guy. I didn't go to the big uh college. Like it was just God that put me in the right places in the right times. I was actually cut as a freshman. So my freshman year, I didn't get to play. And it's funny, like not the Michael Jordan cut. They like Michael Jordan just played JV, bro. Like, no, I was cut out the entire program. I had to go play soccer. People don't know that. And I
Wow.
played soccer because I never played organized sports.
Mm.
And I was like, if I'm serious about playing basketball, instead of just chilling, I'm gonna go play soccer, be a part of a team, run, get conditioned, and learn those things. Now I came back for the tryout 6'5", so coach was like, hey, he's on the team. He's 6'5" now, he can see it, you know what I'm saying? Like enough was enough. And shoot, we had a kid, Sean Rogers. Big Sean was 6'4", 6'4", freshman. To this day, Sean Rogers still 6'4". You know what I'm saying? So coach coach saw the writing on the wall. And then I played JV, and then I had 2 years of varsity. So um I was just that late bloomer, bro. Like when I say I barely made the cut, I barely made the cut. I went off, I had a good senior year, but it definitely wasn't 5 star UCLA. And what's funny that people don't know, Trav, is I originally with Romar signed to go with him to St. Louis. So
Mm.
Romar gets out the deal to St. Louis. I'm a Billiken. People don't know that. St. Louis, like I'm a Billiken. I'm there. And when I got out the deal, I remember Romar calls me. He's like, he's going to Washington. I'm like, cool, we pack 10 still, we crack it. All right, Ro, we going.
Right.
But Ro remembers when I was young, one of the first questions he asked me, he said, well, you go to any school right now, where you going? UCLA. I'll be damned if Lav didn't come at the ninth hour. I don't know if somebody, bro, I don't know if somebody didn't qualify or whatever it was. Lav came in at the ninth hour. So it was Romar and it was Lavin going head up. And crazy enough, they were both assistants on the UCLA bench. And it really came down to this, man. And I had a talk with Cam Dollar, bro. Cam, love Cam. And Cam was in Washington with Ro. And Cam just told me, he said, look, young fella, straight up, I can see on your face you want to go to UCLA. But you're so loyal to us, you're gonna come with us and you're not gonna go even though that opportunity is there. And he was like, Lavin doesn't want you other than that you're 7 feet tall with a 3.5 and he can see you on the list. He doesn't know anything about you. If you're gonna go to UCLA, he knows you're a good kid also. He said, if you're gonna go to UCLA, you're gonna have to be self-made. He said, I want you to get with Magic Johnson in the summers. Don't miss a single UCLA run. Go work on your game, get better, and just know you're going against the grain. You're a salmon, right? Salmon, however you want to pronounce it, you're going uphill. But he said, if you come to Washington, we're going to develop you, we're going to work with you, we're going to do all these things. And crazy enough, Trav, when I first got to UCLA, you know, from the looks and the appeal, UCLA was a choice. Ranked number 10 in the country. The
Mm,
legend Jason Capono, JK, was cold since a freshman over at Artesia. You had Ray Young, All-American. This was going to be a big year. TJ Cummings, son
mm,
of Terry Cummings. Like, this was
mm,
cracking. We saw what TJ did freshman year against Kansas. He went 20-10. Like, you know what I'm saying? You could have penciled TJ in to the pros from there. And then at Washington, crazy enough, bro. They weren't competitive. I'm not gonna say shambles, but they weren't competitive. And I'm sitting there now. Cam and Rowe go over there, and they got their deal on, and they're selling me this. You had Doug Rand. Doug was full on crazy. Okay, but Doug could hoop, and Doug was leaving, but he said, "Hey, I got this dude coming in. He got a little bit of knee problems, but he put his name in the draft. Think we're gonna come. He's gonna be able to come to school. He's got a 40-inch vertical. He's got some game, but it's some things we need to put together with him. But I think he's got a shot. Brandon Roy.
mm,
Second dude, he like, look, we got a guy. He all state in hurdles, all state in football, all state basketball. He's a crazy athlete. The guy's 5'7" and he can do any dunk you want to see. Windmill through the legs, this and this. I'm like, bro, you're gaslighting me. There's no way somebody 5'7" is doing all this. And he plays football and track, all state hurdler. It was Nate Robinson, you know.
Oh, wow.
And then he signs Bobby Jones from Dominguez later. Bobby was on those teams with Tyson and them. I mean, I knew Bobby was coming, but I had no idea, Washington was going to be what that was. So when I first got to UCLA, bro, Washington was cracking. I think they go like Elite Eight, and we had listen, Trav, you remember this? We had a historically bad year
I remember that
at
year. I remember
UCLA.
that year. I remember that year.
Historically, like they were counting the losses, bro. They were counting the losses. It was a mess. And, Lav, the guy who recruits me, who had faith in me, like Lav might have been a lot of things, but
Hmm.
Lav loved his kids.
Yeah.
He was going to give you a chance if you deserved it.
Hmm.
Um, and like he was just going to find a way. He just bled blue and gold. You know what I'm saying? But Lav ends up being fired, which put me in a real predicament.
Right. 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 No, no. I remember that. And I remember that year because like every year they was talking about, they're gonna let go of Lab and then he'll make a run to the Sweet 16, Sweet 16, Sweet 16. And then like that year it was obviously bad, then they let him go. And I was like, yo, I couldn't believe it. Like honestly, I couldn't believe it.
And side note, we were making a run. We came one play away from the tournament, bro.
I remember
We're playing
making
Oregon.
it. Yeah.
We're playing Oregon. Me and Ray are on this switch. Ray switches out. I take two. I got him, bro. I take Luke Rittenauer. Is Luke Rittenauer and Luke Jackson in the pick and roll? I take him. I jump out switch. I got him, bro. Ray sags back. Hits Luke Jackson three ball, bro.
Oh,
For game. That was
yeah.
it.
I remember that. I remember because I remember that year y'all beat Arizona with
We beat
Iguodala.
Arizona at number.
They were the number
Yup,
one
and Channing
seed.
Frye and all them. We
Shannon Fry,
thought we were
all them.
cracking.
Yeah. I
We
remember
were
that. That's
cracking.
what I said. I remember that. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? And like I remember that.
mm-hmm.
Now,
So I don't know if I forgive Ray for that, man. We was going on, bro. We were going
all
on.
right. Now, obviously, you don't know who the coach is. You find out it's Ben Holland. Do you think about going to Washington after, Lab gets fired?
Every day. I call Romar every day. But hey, every day. Ben came in the first order in place. He told us, "I got guys coming in to take your job, bro. We'll see y'all fight it out. Like who gets the most rebounds in practice." He let us know off top, you're not my guy. You're
Damn.
not my guy. Straight up. You're not my guy. We'll see what you got, but you're not my guy. I'm gonna bring my guy. He told us I'm gonna bring my guys in. If anything, he was transparent. You know what I'm saying? All this behind the scenes, he was
Wow.
transparent.
That's
And
crazy.
if they had to transfer Porter like it was, I would I'd have been gone, man. Definitely to play with Romar. So
Yeah.
like, bro, like, like if it give you the equivalent, like I left I left my high school sweetheart for the new chick in the league, bro. For the new chick, once I got good, I was new money, bro. I was new money. I went with the new money, bro. But it also, I'll say this too. Even in my UCLA decision over Washington, was I looked at every center, get Zurich, Zedek, um, like go down the line. Every center who played and start, there's not a UCLA starting center that didn't go to the NBA. And we can probably date back. Like you got to find me one. So I was like, I'm not their guy. But I'm gonna find out really soon if I'm an NBA player. My dream is to be an NBA player, and my
Well,
dream was to do it at UCLA. My dream didn't say it was gonna look like this, but my dream was to do it at UCLA. So my heart just came in with I'm at war. Like I'm not your guy, Lav. Like I didn't know I was not gonna be Ben's guy. That was hard, but I had that mentality, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
that was everything. And I just had to dig into the resources because I feel like if I put in the grind, if I was enough, and it was the best thing for me in the sense of I had to go against the grain, Trav. I knew I was from day one, I knew I was against the grain. Cam told me this is business if you're going there. And that was my mentality to get in there, put in work, and get with the guys who are also putting in work.
Okay, I got you. I got you. So Ben Holland comes in, he tells y'all you're not his guys or whatever. How was that first year with Holland? And then how did your relationship, obviously in your game, grow to where you were an NBA player, what I'm saying, at UCLA?
So I'll be straight up, it was depression because all I cared about was basketball, and basketball wasn't going right. And on top of not going right, the way the coaches were was like my way or the highway. Ben was used to 6'8" bigs. Like shoot, he'd have loved you, Trav. You skilled,
Yeah,
wide
yeah.
shoulders, can
Yeah, no.
rebound. I'm West Coast. I'm block shots, run, fast break, throw the lob. But I will say, like, I didn't know the nuances of the game of setting screens, setting a screen, chucking a cutter,
Hmm.
showing out on the hedge, getting back in the pick and roll. I was athletic enough to get out there and make it up, but I never fine-tuned the details of the game. Ben Howland from the defensive end really fine-tuned the defense's skills of the game, but we were still conflicting because I wasn't his guy. He wasn't used to it. So through those 3 years, we had to figure out on the court how to work. And I was always Ben's best option. So even as much as he wanted to screw around with me, as much as he may have wanted to teach me a lesson, or I didn't really have an ear for the things he had to say, in fairness, um, we had to figure it out together. You know what I'm saying? And like he had to learn to appreciate, like he used to tell me, like, stop trying to block shots. Like, bro, that's how I'm getting to the league, you know? But right, he was used to a charge taking big, so I had to learn how to take charges. Like, but it definitely hurt my pro game, but there was give and takes. There was a give and take in there. So I'm sure, Ben looked back and me and Ben are amazing now. And he can probably was humbled as a coach, like, man, I should have done X, Y, and Z with Ryan. I dropped the ball. And I can look back as
Mhm.
a player, like, hey, you got a guy. who's has an attitude with you, how are you going to respond to him? At the end of the day. So I think, through that process, we learned, and sometimes that's a missing art with a lot of the kids as far as transferring and moving around. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
would Romar would have worked out with me? Absolutely, I think so. But I think, there were definitely lessons to be taught by going into a job place, because college was a job, whether we were getting paid or not, and having a coach or my employer say, I don't like you, and still being able to perform. Travel, a lot of people can't do that. They walk out the door, they get an attitude, they go through things. I don't like you. And then we still succeed and we make money together and figure it out. And then we come back together and shake it off and be like, dang, this was a crazy time. So I think that was a hard, depressing time that I went through. Basketball's your universe, Trav. At that age, basketball not going right, forget life. You don't have no kids, you don't have nothing. Like, basketball is your priority. If you're a real hooper, like, I wasn't never chilling. I wasn't never like, oh, cool, he not playing me, I'm tapping out. Like, I was like, nah, bro, I'm here for a reason. I'm not going back to the hood. I'm not going back to Pasadena.
I feel you, man. I feel you 100%. Now, I do have a question for you. What would you say was your biggest triumph in college and your biggest failure?
Well, my biggest triumph, my father always taught me to leave things better off, better than they were when you got there. When I
Mm-hmm.
first got there, Trav, we set the record for losses. We lost like 10, 11 straight, and then I blew up that Georgetown game. I was cracking on ABC, had, three, four dunks or whatever, big plays. UCLA won. And I'm like, cool. Like, I finally broke in with Lavin. Like, we're good. This is something. And, like, Lav, we're gonna put together,
Yep.
one of those runs, and things were looking up. And, he fooled with me. Like, that's the one thing. Like, if you play well for Lav off the bench or something, he gave you a shot, like, he'll start the walk on, bro. He
Yeah.
started Jason
Yeah.
Flowers. Like, he'll do that. Like, he started, Janelle Rubin. Like, he'll go and do those things and give guys a shot just off some UCLA stuff, just to, get the guys going. Like,
Yep. Yep.
he'll
Yep.
start
Yep.
Sean Farnham. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, stop
Yeah.
playing. Like, Lab would do that
Yep.
and change your life, bro, at UCLA. So Lab did that, and man, I was building momentum. Shoot, I played Team USA that summer because of what Lab brought, and the opportunity that he gave me. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
it was unique, man. But that was for what he did. Like, that was huge.
No, I feel you, man. Like I said, I feel you. I remember, like I said, like he would play for them, and obviously that was with me, and like he he wasn't scared to do things to kind of shake things up, and so like he was always like with that. Obviously he had his main people, but he didn't
Yes.
mind. You know what I'm saying? He didn't mind shaking things up to the through the other people. You know what I'm saying? So I feel you on that. Now. I guess my next question would be, people don't know if most people do, but like on your magical run to the championship game in Florida your senior year. Now, I know you were thinking in your head like I'm a pro, you know what I'm saying? But when did you know like, you know what? I can make it to the NBA like when you was hooping, your senior year.
Well, two things. Let me give you the worst story. Obviously, losing that series, but crazy, bro. Most embarrassing thing that happened to me, my senior year. Not only did Ben come and tell me I wasn't starting, he told me, don't represent the team as a captain in the middle of the circle. I don't want you doing that anymore.
Damn.
And I remember coming out, forget who we were playing, and we're getting ready to play, and I tweaked my groin in warmups, bro. I can't make it up. So I had to walk into the coach's office and tell coach, like, because back then when you young and dumb, bro. So the way I used to get used to loose for the games, I would go out and dunk. Boom, dunk one, dunk two. That's how
Yeah.
I got loose. And
Yeah,
I
you
went up
know
to
it. Yeah.
dunk one time. Oh, dang, my tweaked my groin. I went to the office, I told Ben, I can't play. Tweaked my groin. Most embarrassing thing I had to do. Then he has to write in the injury report, groin. How? Warm-ups. Then you got to tell people. Everybody asking you why you don't play. But that embarrassing moment for me allowed me to take a breath as a senior, sit back and watch the game of basketball and see what I could bring to the table. Where did this team need me? Because in that moment, you're mentally fighting against your teammates, you're fighting against the other teams, you're playing against the refs. Everything's against you instead of for you, and sitting saying, what can you do for the team? But in that process, I had a blessing in disguise. So I went to my friend's house. I used to go to my partner's house, drive over there and kick it in between classes or school or whatever. And his pops was one of the OGs, opened the door with the tank top on, but had the big old school Bible, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Blunt, super OG. And I used to always, hey, Mr. Blunt, how you doing? Good to see you. Big old firm handshake, huge hands. And his boys, I played ball with him. Played my boy Josh that plays at Delaware State, like amazing family, like right in the middle of the hood, right off Cloverdale, off the 10. And I remember going in the house, he never said anything about anything. He'd be like, son, I could tell you got a head on your shoulders, all those things. But this one day, I walked into the crib and Mr. Blunt, he had enough. And he never taught basketball with me. It was, how you doing, son? You good? Your grades good? Everything good? Boom. He could see, he could read energy. The OGs could read energy. Mr. Blunt said, hey, son, I'm tired of what I'm seeing. I don't say nothing about nothing, but I'm sick and tired of what I've been seeing. And I'm like, what you talking about? He's like, I would never talk basketball with you, but you're a senior and I'm just tired of what I'm watching. He said, son, do you know how important you are? And I'm like, important? He said, hold on, man. Pull out the Bible, build up this big old Bible. Pulls out a scripture, says, son, like, God has given you gifts, and it's a sin essentially for you not to use your gifts. And he was like, you don't know how special you are, son. He was like, you have gifts. He was like, you are the center of the team. Do you know what that means? I'm like, no, what do you mean? Like, okay, I play the five. Like, he's like, you're the center. He said, that basketball team goes as far as you take them. This is the time when I'm hurt, bro. So I'm like
Uh,
chilling, I'm doing treatment, whatever. That's it. 2 weeks for growing, working with Spino, OG Spino. Shout out Spino. He's like, you are the centerpiece of the team. I said, well, Pops, what about Aaron Afalo, Jordan Farmer? They're the All-Americans. Ben, you start believing what coach is telling you.
right.
He was like those are the guys. He said, no, you're the center of the team. He said, you are the most important part of that team. And he said, and that team is going to go as far as you take them. And when you start believing that, everything's going to change. But right, boom, 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 this is a sin for you not to take advantage of your opportunities.
Mm.
And Mr. Blunt ain't never talked to me like that. We never talked hoop. All we did was me, Joshua, Bear. We was in the gym all the time working. We loved it and it was a job. We gonna put in work. We had our purpose. We had our hoop dreams. But from that day forward, I approached the game differently. And I didn't want to waste my gifts. I didn't want to be sinning against something that I was blessed with. And I took, I got a chance to sit back and reflect and said, Ben Howland had 4 minutes for me, I'm going to play the best 4 minutes Ben Howland has to offer.
Mm.
If Ben Howland got 10 minutes, I'm going to play the best 10 minutes he has to offer. I also knew Ben Howland was a stickler for film and details. So I knew after the game, if anything, he's going back and he's going to watch the film. And he's going to be pro or against me, but that film is not going to lie. So, Trav, my minutes started to grow. So I turned, bro, the most embarrassing moment of my career into a positive, and then we go on the run through the tournament. And as far as like you said, like when did I know I was a pro? Swear to God, Trav, I was so locked in. I was just making up for lost time. So
Mm.
much so that I think the scouts couldn't quantify what happened. And even when I was the most outstanding player, I was of the region. It was me, Joakim Noah, and like somebody else. I forget. Going to the Final Four. So our faces are all over Sports Center, man. Bro, I stopped watching TV. I cut my phone off. I was in the gym. I was so locked into everything I had to do that I just zoned out, bro. And I didn't even really believe it until the first time I relaxed is when I saw my name get drafted. And I went into like kill mode as far as knowing that I'm a pro. So even until I got drafted, I walked up to draft 50th and was pissed. I was mad, bro. I knew everybody, especially all the big men drafted ahead of me, bro. Hilton Armstrong, um, Cedric Simmons, you know what I'm saying? LaMarcus Aldridge, like all those guys, Paul Millsap. With all due respect to them, they're amazing players. Don't get me wrong, definitely to this day, but dog, I had work to do. Like
Right.
so that my mentality was not fat and happy. I was still behind at that moment. And I was grateful. I looked at UCLA and being grateful for the opportunity rather
Mhm.
than that they owed me anything. And I said, bro, you still have however many games left on TV. You ain't getting no national TV games after this again. So go out and play these games like they're your last. And I truly took that mentality approach into it instead of focusing on the things that I didn't have because I knew I felt like Ben should have been playing me. Should Ben have been playing me? Yeah, bro, you got an athletic 7-footer. Work with him. But that wasn't the reality. So I had to go and take those minutes. And at that point, it wasn't none personal. And I knew that we won. And I knew that my minutes were productive minutes. And I knew that I was giving him what he needed. And whether he made it a choice or not to play me, I forced his hand.
Right, right. It makes sense. Like I said, I watched the game grow. I saw it. My dad used to call me all the time. Like, boy, that boy Ryan looking a lot better, man. I'm telling you, man. He might be, Benny got him too ready for pros, man. I used to talk because my dad would talk all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so how's UCLA, pops? How they doing this year? You know what I'm saying? He'd be like, oh man, I'm telling you, man, they can make a run, son. I'd be like, really? He's like, yeah, man, I'm telling you, they got something. And so, we would talk about every single game. And like I said, we remember all your good games, your bad games, all that stuff. So, man, I remember that.
Man, it's a
Now,
blessing, bro. You never know
yeah,
who's supporting you, bro. You don't really
hell
know.
yeah.
We don't have that North Carolina connection. Like Trav just straight up. We don't have that North Carolina connection. We checking for each other, but we don't always have that connection to break bread with each other. So it's crazy hearing you were supporting the repping. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like you
yeah, for
don't
sure,
always
man.
know.
I was mad. Even though I left, what I'm saying, I was always still die hard, love UCLA. So and
100%.
y'all was like, right after myself. So, myself, Matt, Ray, obviously, all them. So like
Yeah.
I definitely paid a lot of attention to y'all, you know what I'm saying? And so, my pops was obviously watched Lab, but obviously Ben Holler was something different. So, when y'all made that run, because y'all went further than any UCLA team did since, 95 in Charles and them. So, when y'all made it all the way to the chip, because I was like, you know, everybody was telling me like, nigga, they ain't gonna beat LSU. I'm like, nigga, they gonna beat LSU. Like, I'm telling you, they gonna beat they too. You know what I'm saying? Big baby, nice, but he too little. He too little. You know what I'm saying? And so like when y'all beat them, I was like, oh, we gonna win this ship. We gonna beat Florida.
Man.
And like I said, it took 5 pros to beat y'all, but that's okay.
Hey, I'll give you a fun fact. Do you know which UCLA team has the most wins in school history?
No. Who?
Our championship team.
Really?
So I was a part of the most wins in UCLA history. So in a season, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
So back then, obviously, the wooden days, they didn't play as many games as we played with the exhibition games, however the tournament set up. And then we went further than the other two teams just went to the Final Four and got smacked. You get zero credit for going to the championship. We got smacked in the championship, but you get zero credit for it. But for me, like we talked about, I set a record for losing when I first came in, right? When I left things better than expected. The most wins in UCLA history.
I got you. So what would you
Crazy.
say? That's crazy. What would you say your biggest lesson you learned in college?
I'm a diamond, baby. That diamond, you don't make a diamond in the you don't make it on the stove. Like you gotta go through the through pressure, you
hmm
know?
hmm
And my mentality was Ben Howland couldn't break me, bro. Like Ben Howland couldn't break me,
I got
and
you.
shoot, the next hardest thing I had when my daddy died. So I said, my daddy died. I played the day my daddy died, bro. And the reason I did that is because for one, when my father passed, um, he would want me to play. He want me sitting there feeling sorry for him, for one. And for two, I said, if I can do this, there's nothing in this world I can't do. You
Mm.
tell me, bro, I played and my daddy died. You
Yeah,
tell
no.
me and I played through that and didn't break a beat that there's no way in hell that. I'm not gonna be able to do anything else on this planet.
No, I got you.
So that's just my mentality with those things.
Hmm.
And I survived. I survived UCLA and Ben Howard. I survived. A lot of the homies didn't make it out,
No,
man.
no, I feel
I
you.
survived.
I feel you. You one of the ones that did. You know what I'm saying? Now, my question, the next question I would say is like you get drafted number 50, right?
Hmm.
To Charlotte Bobcats, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, did they give you an inkling? Like, did you work out with them before in the draft process, or how did your draft process go for you to get like to know where you gonna get drafted in 50?
I was one of those guys that had like 17, 18 workouts, and I signed with Todd Ramazar,
Yeah,
Todd,
yeah.
IE,
Shout out to that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
shout
yeah.
out Todd, still doing an amazing job as an agent. And I kid you not, bro, I can't make it up. So the most intriguing thing for me was, dang, Ryan is dumb athletic. We didn't know he was athletic. Ben Hollins had him taking charges. He he was trying to, instead of trying to dunk everything, he was, trying to use the backboard. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you know, hey, we saw he scored double figures all the way through. We saw all those things, but we were trying to figure out, what is this kid good or not? Where did this come from? And
Yeah.
there was the confusing thing. So I kid you not, for all the teams I worked out for, they're like, he's athletic, he's strong, he lifts, what's going on? But why didn't he? Something's not adding up here. So no lie, Todd told me my range of being drafted was anywhere from 10 to 50. Now, when I worked out for the Charlotte
Damn.
Bobcats, yeah,
That's a
bro,
hell of
like,
a range.
exactly, because teams didn't know. So when I worked out for the Charlotte Bobcats, I did a dunk drill, bro, and I was working out with Rico. See, I was the first Rico guinea pig, as far as, he's an unbelievable coach in the league
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
trainer, but he prepared me for the draft. So every day he was like, look, I'm not gonna try to make you into this great basketball player, right? I'm gonna make you great at what you do. That's what the league. I'm gonna make you great at what you do and know your big picture, dog. So you're gonna be the most athletic big man in this draft. So every day I'm doing two ball pickup. Let's start off two ball pickup. Be making up games of two ball pickup. You know what two ball pickup is, the Superman drill, whatever you call it. You take the ball at the block, you get in the stance, get up, dunk, go get the other ball at the block,
Yeah,
get up,
yep,
dunk.
yep, yep,
We
yep, yep,
going. I did that drill like
yep.
it was going out of style. We get to Charlotte, they pull out the Superman drill, two ball pickup. And he's like, I'm gonna give you all the drills that you're gonna get the keys to the test. We worked on the cheat code to the test. I had a practice test. That's what Rico gave me and said, we're gonna show out. So I get to Charlotte, we do the Superman drill. It's me and like three other big men, right? So I go last. First guy goes, boom, boom, boom. He gets 6. Oh, gets hung, miss. Other guy gets 10. Oh, 10. He getting fatigued. He getting tired. Other guy gets like 12. Right. We didn't just dunk it. We showed out. Rico, he told me we went until we didn't stop because it was mind over matter. Trav, I dunked 50 straight.
Damn.
We had we had the scouts in there sitting, and they're bored, bro. They're like, why am I watching this? They're sitting there watching, and I'm doing the drill, and they're sitting there. It got to the point where they stood up. Everybody started cheering for me because I'm coming in there like a psychopath. I'm, I'm gonna die doing this drill. I'm coming in like a psychopath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 30, 40, 50. Scout gets up, says, bro, just dunk 10 more and we're good. You don't need to keep going, because he realized this dude is not gonna stop. And
Yeah,
everyone, I'm
yeah.
ah, ah, ah. Mm. Everyone, I'm trying to tear them, because Rico said, bro, if they don't know your name, they don't remember what you're doing. Who says last one? Boom, windmilled it. He was like, seen enough. So when you say that I know I was going to Charlotte, I was going no lower than Charlotte.
Okay, okay.
I knew I was going no lower than Charlotte. The ball went out of bounds. I tried to take the coach out. I tried to dive through the stands after the basketball, bro. I went all into the little soft mats you jump on, whatever. UCLA, we used to have the wooden boxes. They stopped because you got hurt on those. But we used to go into the pads, bro. I went to the pads after a loose ball. Had them all hyped up. So I was like, yeah, they're excited. I got them excited about basketball. So I knew I was going to be a Charlotte Bobcat.
Okay, okay,
I
okay.
knew
Yeah.
because of that I was going.
Okay. Well, at least now I know. Like I said, I didn't know. And so you get drafted by Charlotte and you're a rookie, right? Now, tell us, what's the biggest difference between the league and college?
Okay. In college at that time, now these kids have paychecks. Trav, guys maybe were taken care of, obviously, but at the end of the day, when it was their business, not we were all equal. We all had to go to class. We all had to do stuff. When I looked over to the left and to the right, I've never had a teammate traded. I've never played for a different amount of money. I never had anything. We were all equal. I was very student athlete. Two stories let me know that there was a difference. I got my first paycheck. It was like 30 $30,000, right? Something like that, right? Then they take out the tax, they do the deal on there. I'm like, wow, man, this is cool. All right, take this. I'm not worried about this. Take this, put it away. Like, this is crazy. They give you the little deposit, the direct deposit deal. And Mecca Okafor sat next to me. That's my OG at the time. Mech, shout out to Mech, UConn. His check had 300,000 per deal. That's that's when I realized it was different.